Hey, welcome to Mikey's Video Game Madness. Today we're playing Yakuza 3 on the PlayStation 3. This is a physical copy, as if you needed to know that. I guess the only reason why I'm saying that is because I believe when I recorded Yakuza 4, it was a digital copy. You can get them either way, but I would spring for the physical copies. At least here in the US, you can get a physical copy fairly cheap, used under $20. I think I only paid $13 for this one. There's also a zombie one. I don't think I covered that one yet. I might cover more of these games. This is going to be a short video. These games are really hard to do videos of if you don't know what's going to happen, because it's like a pretty big RPG with action elements that sort of remind me of, I want to say, Dynamite Cop, or the Die Hard arcade game, which had nothing to do with Die Hard. They just put a license on it when it came to the US, so people would play it more. I actually saw it in the arcade one time. I remember it coming out for Saturn first, and I never heard of it. And then we went to, I don't know if you guys have these. This is back in the day when it only cost $2, which I think it's almost like up to $5 now. CC's Pizza. Yeah. If you're not from America, that probably seems ludicrous. But it's like a $2 all-you-can-eat pizza buffet. There is a buffet with every kind of pizza imaginable. It wasn't that great of pizza, so I don't know what the heck they were making it out of. They might have been making the dough out of flour, out of grinded up bones of children. I don't know, but yeah. So it was basically a 3D Streets of Rage type game, and they made the character wear the same clothes as Bruce Willis did, because they certainly didn't try to make the character act or sound like Bruce Willis. They didn't put the amount of effort they did in Die Hard trilogy on the PlayStation, PC, and Sega Saturn, where it sounded like a Bruce Willis sounded like. They also had Die Hard Trilogy 2. I guess they didn't expect them to make Die Hard Trilogy 4 and 5, and I think they're eventually going to make a 6th one. For what reason is unknown, because if you watch Die Hard 4 and 5, they feel nothing like the original movies. They're going into science fiction territory. But anyway, this game reminds me of a hybrid of a 3D Streets of Rage, or those arcade games that I just mentioned. There was one on the Dreamcast. I don't think it was called Dynamite Cop, maybe it was, and then there was a zombie one based on Streets of Rage or whatever. Not Streets of Rage, I mean House of the Dead. They were gonna come out with a Streets of Rage game, but they canceled it. They actually were again gonna come out with it after the Dreamcast on the PlayStation 2. It just never came to be, but this is a good alternative. I really like this. So this is a combination of Shenmue and like a brawler, where it has RPG elements. You're in this particular game, forgive me, I can't remember the main character's name offhand. I should have did my research, but this isn't a review. This is me just playing the game and talking about it. I was about to say Steve Benway, so you can see what it looks like. That's part of the reason why I'm sharing it. Of course, with my recording equipment, you're not going to really be able to see what it really looks like. Since I'm recording with component cables, the picture and the color contrast never really shows up as well as if I were to record on the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 4. For some reason, Sony will not let people record with HDMI without some sort of half-ass workaround. I recorded these the same time. I recorded Star Trek and Tomb Raider, which came out pretty awful because I had to blow up the picture. This time I didn't have to zoom into the picture when I recorded it, because if you don't have the resolution set right and the recorder restarted a proper way, the game puts like partitions on the side of the screen, kind of like when you used to get a VHS movie, and sometimes movies on Blu-ray or DVD now, where you'd have the black bars on the top and bottom of the screen. Well, it puts it on the side, and it annoys me at least, and I'm willing to accept a downgrade in picture quality by zooming in to cut off that, as long as it doesn't cut off the any of the text or any of the HUD display on the screen. I'm willing to zoom in, but it makes the picture fuzzier. This is using hardware anti-aliasing, so it has that infamous PlayStation 3 blur a little bit, but the gameplay's solid. I really like this series. So as much as I played of it, I haven't played a lot of the games. I played part of Yakuza 3, 4, and then the zombie game, and I like what I've played so far. I kind of feel bad I didn't play the game when it was on PlayStation 2. His jacket's texture is a little bit weak. That looks like that's straight from PlayStation 2, but it looks like maybe they did that so they could focus more on the texture on his jacket. I don't know. Yakuza 5 actually came here, and it's a damn shame. It's a fucking digital only copy, and you can't import it without knowing Japanese, and that wouldn't be a big deal, except this is an RPG game where you're gonna want to know what's gonna happen story wise. That's a huge part of it, because in this game, I can't remember if Yakuza 4 has it. I would not be surprised if they did, is that they give you recaps of the game, and man, there's a lot of story to the game. And on PlayStation 4 they remade the first Yakuza, which as far as I know hasn't been announced here, but oddly enough, Yakuza 0, which is a prequel to Yakuza 1, is getting a physical copy here, but they're not releasing 5 here, which is crazy, at least physically. And I would be more than happy to import it if they came out with it. It's $40 for a digital copy, and the problem with the Yakuza games is they're really large, and it's not a big deal for the hard drive, I guess, as far as if you don't have a lot of games, but it is for me when each game's like 20 gigs long. Like, that's insane. Most games on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, to give you an idea, are only 6 gigs at most. Usually the PlayStation exclusive, which I guess the Yakuza games are, even though they don't explicitly announce it or whatever as such, are PlayStation exclusive. So yeah, it's like 20 something gigs. It would take forever to download it, even with a fast internet speed, just because the PlayStation modem is sort of shit. So anyway, in this game, I'm just giving you a good idea of what the battle system's like. There's a lot of exploration in the game. Basically, your character's trying to get out of the mafia and start an orphanage, because you yourself, when you were growing up, you were an orphan, so I guess you're trying to, I guess, make things better from all the bad things you did in the mafia, and try to redeem yourself by opening up an orphanage. So far from what I've played, I'm guessing that's not gonna pan out well. Otherwise, it wouldn't make a very interesting game just to play in an orphanage, and considering there's a Yakuza 4 and then a zombie Yakuza, which I don't know if that's canon or not. And then 5 looks really cool, which they won't release here. Like, that one has driving and everything, and it kind of reminds me of Sleeping Dogs, where you're like this part-time cab driver. It looks like you can go on all these crazy things, like outside on these hunting missions. And then I saw another mini game where he was able to play like real arcade games like Virtual Fighter 2 and that weird drum game where the drums look like they're having an orgasm when you hit it. And he plays like 4 different characters, including like the kid sidekick that's been throughout the whole games, and she's grown up and then she's some sort of pop idol or whatever. It's really weird, but it's kind of cool that there's all these different variety gameplay types in it, and it looks really cool. Sorry, I'm doing this video after a long day. Of course, I always do these things after I'm super awkward with my commentary, but I guess you guys should be used to it by now. I might show more of this game because I feel like I didn't get to show a lot of it, but man, I just can't say enough. I really want to play Yakuza 5, but it runs on a new engine too. It looks quite nice. The main characters look really good in this game, but once you start looking at like the non-playable characters, they kind of look pretty generic, but it definitely has this Shenmue vibe, which makes sense considering Sega made both games. But it seems really cool. You have the little girl with you in this one. You have to make her happy. Like, before I made this video. I took her to the ice cream shop and stuff like that. Since I showed you a lot, because Yakuza 3 and 4 are somewhat similar. Of course, Yakuza 4 probably has a little bit of extra in terms of mini games and stuff like that. But they're like simple stuff like karaoke where you match buttons and claw machine things, or you go and take the girl to the ice cream shop and pick what kind of ice cream you have. But it's more about story and learning about these characters, and it's cool. You get a recap. I really hope the United States and the West in general embraces this series more. I don't know why they don't import it. Limited Run Games actually offered to make or publish Yakuza 5, and Sega refused for some reason, which doesn't make any sense to me. It's like the easiest game that you could put on a disc, because maybe it's for the best, I don't know, because sometimes American actors trying to translate the Japanese emotion that's written down in a different language comes off really silly, but seeing it happen in its native tongue, I guess, is more bearable. Because sometimes, like, when you have a Japanese game that's translated to English, it seems very over the top, whereas if it's in its native language, sometimes it's more, I don't know, it seems more natural. Not that Japanese people are over the top or anyway, but maybe it's because you partly don't understand exactly what they're saying from an auditory level, and you reading it isn't making you pay as much attention to the performance, I guess, which is somewhat distracting. I don't know, but the games aren't even translated to English beside the text. I don't know why they don't let the company make the physical versions, and then it doesn't make sense that Sega is coming out with Zero and PlayStation 4. I think they just need a few commercials out there and magazine ads or whatever, but it seems like a cool series, and I'm really intrigued by it, and I look forward to play it more, and I would highly recommend it. Maybe I'll cover it more in the future if I get into it. Right now I'm working on Mad Max, trying to beat up that back catalog a bit. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, even though it was short. Sorry I rambled so much and I was all over the place. Shouldn't be apologizing, but you know, when I don't have this many subscribers, I guess I better start kissing ass. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. You'll get a little sense of the orphanage right here. Ironically enough, in the scenes that have more lighting, it doesn't seem as blurry. But I think in Yakuza 5, again, the one that's not released here, looks a little bit sharper. But, you know, you have to get the digital copy. It is released here, but you got to download it, all 20-something megabytes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye, and take care.
If you want to, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.